Okay, hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of On Point EDC. Today we have an awesome little bang per buck flipper from Zero Tolerance. So a little bit about Zero Tolerance, or ZT. They were founded in 2006. Their parent company is actually Kai USA, which was founded in 1974, but the Zero Tolerance brand itself was founded in 2006. So, of course, these being made in the USA knives, they are US in origin. Their market segment is really positioned at those kind of overbuilt mid-range to high-end pieces that are using, they just cram in so much technology into these pieces at extremely affordable prices. So it's really nice. The type of knife this is, if you were to class it, it would be a titanium frame lock folding knife. So some key characteristics are, of course, going to be that Chris Reeve style integral lock, which is an evolution of the Walker liner lock. And then, with a titanium handle, with, and basically where the lock is going to integrate with the frame there. So let's go ahead and zoom out and take a closer look at this piece. But before we do that, let's do a wristwatch check here. As you can see, I have my Christopher Ward C60 Trident Pro 600. And the reason why I chose to wear it for this review is I feel, the C60 is kind of akin to the 0450 in that it is just a lot of bang per buck. It has the ceramic bezel, 600 meters water resistant, automatic movement, the whole 9 yards. And, it's something that was really, I feel, with just a small modification, it can kind of be taken to another level. So added the Stabe diver's mesh here, and I think it really just kind of takes the watch up, a couple of notches. And for this knife, there's been a couple of light modifications from MXG Gear, which is where I got these blue anodized titanium standoffs. Before out of box, these are red. And I also got a low riding pocket clip, which not only helps it ride lower, will actually cover it. To me, I think it actually improves the overall ergonomics. Maybe not looks wise. There was nothing really wrong with the out of box pocket clip, but I feel like adding this actually solved a lot more problems than just how low it rides in the pocket. So let's go ahead and get into this model. So this is the ZT 0450 by Zero Tolerance. It's a Dmitry Sinkovich design, and basically it is an EDC size premium flipper. So this is something that is going to be, perfect for everyday carry. It really bang per buck. This is a knife that just pretty much has it all. And it's definitely at a very accessible price point. So the retail price is $200, but who pays retail? So you'll find the street price closer to 150, maybe 160 bucks, and that might seem like a lot, but when you actually get into the specs, you'll find that to find another folding knife with these same specs, you'll be pretty hard pressed to find something that's going to be so fully loaded. So the materials, we have CPM, which is US-based crucible steel. It's SV35N premium stainless steel, which is extremely nice. The standard, I'd say, probably for well-balanced knife steels for the longest time was really S30V, and this is basically a new formula that was worked on with Chris Reeve from Chris Reeve Knives, and he helped formulate S35. So basically it's just kind of an even more premium version of S30, which is already, I'd say, dollar per dollar, and as well as the compromises, right, for a steel that you want something strong, but you want it to also be able to hold an edge, but be able to take an edge. So there's a fine balance, right? If you have something that's crazy hard, it's also going to be a little bit more brittle. You know, it's also going to, then the more wear resistant you make it, it's also going to be harder to sharpen. So there are those thoughts that come into it. So I mean, if it's a one-time use steel, there's probably some better steels out there, but I'd say you know, dollar per dollar, you know, for something that's going to have some longevity that you can rework and resharpen pretty easily, you know, the SV35N is definitely an amazing steel, especially at this price point. You'll actually find, you know, if you haven't done your research, you'll find similar materials in much more expensive knives, double, triple the cost. You'll find some other knives that are going to be, you know, customs that are going to cost 3 times, 4 times, 5 times as much, that aren't going to actually even have materials that are as nice. Maybe a little bit more innovatively finished and you know, on that side of it, but they're not good. You know, there's plenty that are still out there, and you know, D2 tool steel. So this is really just a bargain. You can take my word for it, or you can check, you know, the other 100 CTO 450 reviews that are out there. So let's get into the actual blade itself. So it's a drop point blade with a very nice hollow grind. As you can see, extremely nicely I mean, the finishing on here is great. It's actually a two-tone, so it has a stone wash and a satin finish. As you can see there, that top swedge just catches the light really nicely, and you can see the machining on the grind lines are just outstanding. Extremely uniform, extremely well done. Hats off to ZT for being able to produce a knife like this in the US at this price point, which is just nuts to me. So you know, it's really sharp out of box. I'm not going to do any cutting tests on here. There's definitely other channels for that, where you'll see people hacking up everything from wood to phone book paper. Just take my word for it. This is on the sharper end of knives you can get out of box. Maybe not as sharp as like something with a full flat grind from Spyderco, but you know, definitely close. There's definitely nothing wrong with that, because not everything needs to be razor sharp, right? And if you really want to cut boxes, probably the best tool you can have is a box cutter as far as performance goes. So so the handle has a really nice stone washed finish, full titanium, of course. Some of the dimensions, you know, opened length, the overall is going to be 7.375 inches, which is, I think, a really nice EDC size, not too long. You know, for me, I think EDC, you know, once you start getting a little bit over, you know, 8 1/4, it just starts being a little less practical. So, you know, I think this length is definitely spot on. So the blade length is 3.25 inches. The closed length is going to be 4.1, which is extremely nice, especially in this slimmer profile. And then the weight is only going to be 2.9 ounces, so just a hair under 3 ounces. Really nice. You know, of course, with its more compact design, you know, the weight isn't going to be distributed probably as evenly as, you know, other designs. You know, again, probably thinking of a Spyderco as far as, you know, a leaf-shaped blade, and, you know, maybe a thinner stock here on the scales would probably make it maybe evenly distribute the weight a little bit better. But I would say, you know, this doesn't feel like a heavy knife at all. So in hand, you know, the ergonomics are really, really nice. It has this nice finger groove here, and as you can see, it has these other 2 contours, which, you know, some people kind of complain that when you're gripping this, you know, there's just not enough room, and your pinky kind of wants to ride here, and it kind of gives you a hot spot. So with the OEM pocket clip, I actually kind of agreed with that. I felt like it was just kind of awkward placement for the pinky as far as where it was going to lock in. But with this low riding pocket clip here, I found that it actually helped reposition my fingers a lot nicer. So if you take a look here, now it pushes more out to where just the ends of my fingers are in here, which, you know, of course there's more room for the ends, because now it's just filling my hand a little bit nicer because there's more width here down at the bottom. So it gives me a little bit more to grip on. So I mean, it's crazy that I don't know if they did that on purpose, but I have to say, well done to MXG Gear on this pocket clip. Definitely solved some problems for me there. And I, you know, there's nothing wrong with the OEM pocket clip. You know, I think aesthetically it's nice, and you know, it really doesn't ride that much higher than this. But I do like a low riding pocket clip, and you know, bonus points that it gave me just a little bit of width here for grip purposes on the knife. So again, another thing to touch on is as far as ergonomics go, there's this really nice jimping. It's nothing crazy, you know, it's not going to tear up your hand or anything like that, but it does allow you to choke up pretty nicely on the blade for more precision cutting tasks, which is always nice. Okay, so let's get to the action. So the action on this is you know, pretty much top notch. For a flipper, you know, it has that nice strong detent, which is going to hold the, you know, there's no shaking this out, but basically you're going to be able to build pressure while you're getting to break away from that detent, and then it's just going to fly out. I mean, you're never going to, you know, misfire with this. It's always going to go, and it's going to fly out, it's going to lock. So that's not always the case, and I, you know, when I start getting to the comparables, I'll show you another knife that is a really nice flipper as well, but it's not as, you know, fire and forget like this piece is right here, which I definitely really enjoy. So it actually has, you know, the KVT ball bearings, which is really nice. So the washer is on ball bearing, so it's really smooth, you know, opening action. The detent again is just really well dialed in, and you know, you don't have to have an aftermarket pocket clip for this, but some people have complained that basically if you put your finger on the detent bar, it makes it impossible to open because the detent is so strong. So any extra pressure is going to pretty much make it impossible to snap free. But kind of a technique that I go with is I just rest my middle finger right here on the little groove of the clip, and you can do this even with the OEM clip, and right there, it's just perfect in hand. So, I feel like there's been a couple of kind of unfair critiques against the ergonomics of this knife because, oh, it's such a small knife, where my fingers go and it's going to be, what a fatal flaw. And to me, it's, I think that was really blown out of proportion because this knife, to me, is, it flies out, fires out, and that's just really... end of story. It's not too hard, and it's actually, for me, it's very natural to grip the knife like this. So, I'd say if you're gonna get one, just save yourself some time and pick up a more natural grip like this versus, oh no, and then it's trapped. So, you can see, falls down really nicely. So, in pocket, especially with this deep carry pocket clip, it definitely is, it has a small footprint. It's really unobtrusive, and it allows you to dig into your pocket, get around it. It's not going to be in your way or anything like that. With all the great milling here and machining, it's not going to leave you with any sharp edges anywhere in here. So you can navigate right past this, and it's not going to hurt you. It's not going to bite you. And, the tip is well tucked away. Blade centering, is very nice. So it's definitely great in the pocket. And especially with this clip, it pretty much allows it to disappear. You won't see anything but the clip once this is in pocket because of, as you can see, how low it's going to ride. So... You know, there are some model variants. So there is the 0450 CF, which is going to be, all DLC coated, and it's going to be actually have carbon fiber scale out of the box, and it's going to be slightly lighter. I think something like 4 point, I'm sorry, not 4 point, but 2.7 and some change ounces. Which is nice, but for me, I like the exposed metal versus the DLC coat, which it just ends up being a little bit more to maintain, and kind of in the grand scheme of things. So I definitely prefer this one. And then there's also 0452, which has a carbon fiber scale, but it actually has the exposed metal and the exposed blade steel, which is a slightly larger size, which to me, I really enjoy this size. I might consider it in the future, but right now I'm just really this is a sweet spot for me. But I really carry folding knives more as EDCs and not necessarily as tactical stabbing tools. So for me, this is the right size knife. So comparable options. Let's go ahead and bring out one of them. So comparably, you could get a Spyderco Mantra. This one has actually been modded by Blades We Love. So it has blued titanium hardware as well as a really cool blue fade on the titanium scales. And, very similar in spec, this knife, I'd say. I'm a huge Spyderco fan, so of course, a full titanium frame lock flipper from Spyderco, I'm on board. So, but some of the differences is, it is slightly more expensive. You'll find this going for more closer to 170. And it also uses an M4 tool steel, which is not stainless. So this steel will be able, you have to maintain it. Otherwise, it's going to patina and stain over time. So it's definitely a better cutter. And, as a, for utility purposes, this knife is, probably can, M4 steel is so hard and so strong. It's going to cut with the best of them. As far as slicing and chopping goes, there's really not much that's going to be able to outperform this steel. But again, not stainless. This is stainless. It's going to be really, really hard to sharpen versus this is going to take an edge much easier. So although this will hold an edge longer, when the time does come to sharpen it, it is going to be a lot more of a pain versus here, it may dull over time, but you're going to be able to sharpen it relatively easily. Another thing, actually, I should probably mention about the 0450 is that it has a steel lock insert. So this is something that for me, it's a great feature. It's not really a necessity, but it's just as far as the longevity of the knife goes, you want to have that steel lock insert, because when you have titanium on hardened steel, as a friction point, one, it's not going to feel as nice. It's not going to be as smooth. And two, over time, that titanium can be worn down here. Since that lock face is actually steel, it's going to be steel on steel contact. So if anything wears down, you can actually just replace that lock insert, and the handle itself is going to be maintained really well. And just kind of comparatively, to take a look here, so look at the milling and how tight the tolerances are on that lock bar versus when you take a look at the Spyderco Mantra, right? There's definitely a lot more gap. And I'm not saying that it has to be tight, for it to be good. And the fact that there's more space in here makes it bad. But I mean, looking at that, it just shows that, they really went the extra mile with this knife. And it's just extremely impressive. And, size comparison here, maybe even get them down here. Definitely very similar in size. So it's really more so just the design that kind of shakes up the way they're going to be in your hand. I mean, this feels a lot lighter, although it's probably not. I want to say it's actually heavier. I think this comes in right at 3 ounces, but this just feels slightly heavier. So, you know, great choices. You really couldn't go wrong with either. But, you know, for this one, I think the detailing on the scales is a lot less, you know, I'd say detailed is the word I'm looking for, but it just, you know, it's just kind of rounded on the edges, you know, the finger contours, you know, it's just a smoother design, more modest, you know. So for me, that's why I you know, I really preferred to have it, you know, anodized, just so that I can have a little bit of pop to it. Otherwise, I think, you know, with that kind of dark stone wash that they do, it just would have been a little bit too drab. So let's get back to the 0450 and all of its glory. All right, so, you know, I'd say bottom line for this knife, you know, it's one of the best EDC knives for the money. Dollar for dollar, bang per buck. You know, when you take it from that point of view, there's really not much that's out there that's going to be able to hold a candle to this knife. So as long as you like the way it looks and your hand can fit in it, it's going to be really hard for you to beat this knife. Are there going to be, you know, more luxurious, more, you know, technology rich knives that are going to be out there? Yeah, there are. There's definitely going to be stuff that's going to be more feature rich, but you're going to be paying a premium for it. And you're going to find stuff too that has similar, you know, similar spec, but it won't be made in the USA. That's for sure. You know, even the Spyderco, although, you know, Spyderco's out of Golden, Colorado, they actually, for most of their titanium frame lock models, you know, they're more of their premium stuff. It's actually from their Taichung, Taiwan factory, which don't be thinking, oh, well, it's made in Taiwan. They must have crap there. Actually, probably it's one of their better manufacturing factories. Pretty much their best knives come out of Taichung. But you know, that's something to consider, is that, you know, to get this level of quality, there's a lot of brands that have to take their stuff overseas to get that quality in at this price point, versus Zero Tolerance is doing it here in the good old US of A and is able to deliver something so excellent as this. So again, big shout out to MXG Gear for the pocket clip and the standoffs. You know, to me, I think it made great, nice little subtle difference that was enough to really take it up a notch and really help, you know, secure this knife as one of my favorites. So this was kind of a longer review, but, you know, knife rambling, it happens. So we'll just zoom in and we'll close on a close-up of this awesome pocket knife. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. You know, is this one of your favorites? Do you have one? Have you ever handled one? Have you thought about one? Are there any other models, you know, that you think compare really nicely to it? And hopefully, you know, we can battle them. I am planning kind of a battle of the TI frame lock flippers in the future. So you'll see a couple of really popular options out there, and you know, I'll kind of address it the same way I do a lot of my, you know, watch battles, except this time I'll be covering knives. So if you haven't already, please like the video. It definitely does help. If you don't know, when you like somebody's video, essentially the more likes, the more chances that it's going to be at the top of somebody's search list. So let's say nobody knows about this channel. If it has a video that has a lot of likes on it and they're searching for an 0450, the more likes, basically, you know, hey, this has more of a chance to be on that first page. So more people will find out about the channel and hopefully subscribe. And, you know, the more subscribers I have, the more motivated I am to put out these videos. So it definitely helps. So if you haven't already, please subscribe, and definitely let me know what you guys think in the comments. Thanks.